I don't know what the theme for House of the Dragon is going to be, but I'm quite sure it's going to be equally as epic as the greatest series of all time. The greatest anything of all time. Game of Thrones is what I'm referring to. Ramin Djawadi has been pushed into House of the Dragon. He's going to be creating the theme for the show, and I'm pretty sure the opening theme will be insanely amazing. But in this video, I'm going to be discussing 4 new cast members that have joined the cast for House of the Dragon. Several of these actors are known for other projects, and in this video, I'm going to break down what they're known for and how I think they're going to translate into this new series, as well as which characters they're going to be playing. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. But before we do that, please do me 2 massive favors. The first one being, slap a like on this video, as a like goal is going to be 420. Also, make sure you're subscribed, and that's the most important part. Make sure you have your notifications turned all the way on. So that way, you'll get an alert every single time I drop a video throughout the wait for House of the Dragon Season 1, throughout the wait for a Game of Thrones sequel movie series, throughout the wait for anything related to A Song of Ice and Fire, or as it's known on this channel, The Lone Knight. Alright, now this news actually comes to us courtesy of the HBO Game of Thrones Twitter. Speaking of which, make sure you go follow the HBO Game of Thrones Twitter on Twitter, but also follow me at Sir_Hunts or Dragon Daddy. I post frequently over there. I also shitpost. I also share things that I find interesting and entertaining. So if you want like frequent updates from Sir Hunts, go ahead and go follow me on Twitter. And you can also follow me on Instagram, all of which I post pictures of my handsome baby. But jumping right into it. Now, according to the House of the Dragon subsite that they have on the HBO site, this is where they're going to be posting like their direct updates, mainly casting updates, and then also eventually a release date for not only Season 1, but for the trailer as well. I'm pretty sure that's all going to be posted under here. So maybe you can go and turn on your email notifications for hbo.com/House of the Dragon. I know I do, but I also get most of my alerts from Twitter. That's why I keep telling people to go follow me. But the first actor they have being cast in this show, and this is kind of controversial, and I don't really give a shit. I said in my last video, I kind of knew that they were going to be casting a black actor for a role in this series. It works because House Velaryon is well established in the books. We know who they are, but for the average show watcher, which is what matters the most to these people, House Velaryon is sort of like non-existent in the main series. I think it's mentioned maybe once or twice, but this will work out nicely, and I don't really give a shit. I said before, as long as this actor can fucking act, it won't matter. I know that it throws in controversy to like which characters are supposed to look a certain way. Here's the thing, guys. It's made the fuck up. It doesn't matter. If George said it was okay, I think it's okay. What I'm going to do, instead of bitching about it now or complaining about it, because that means nothing except for, you know, a few likes online, just wait until it comes out. If this guy Steve Toussaint fucking sucks because Corlys Velaryon is going to be a lead in this series, if he fucking sucks, well then they'll probably kill him off early. And then that'll throw a wrench into the system, and everybody who studied the Dance of the Dragons like I have, the Targaryen Civil War that this series is going to be based on, well then we don't know what's going to happen. Because Velaryon, Lord Velaryon, Corlys, the Sea Snake, is taken out so early, all of the things that he does during this war are going to be left up for grabs. So other characters are going to be able to do it. But just continuing on, Steve Toussaint, and the description goes on to read that the Lord of House Velaryon, a Valyrian bloodline as old as House Targaryen. The Sea Snake is the most famed nautical adventurer in the history of Westeros. He built his house into a powerful seat that is even richer than the Lannisters and claims the largest navy in the world. Now, the next actress that they picked to play another role in this series, another lead role, and they're looks like they're announcing the main cast, and all of the sort of fill-ins of people that will die early on will likely not be announced, and we'll find out through filming leaks and all that shit that's going to be starting here pretty soon, because HBO president, the programming president, Casey Bloys, who I also follow over on Twitter, announced that filming officially starts in April. So that means by the end of this month and into March, we're going to see sets completed. They're going to start doing like dress rehearsal type shit. And actually, they've already started that because the costume designer, whose name I don't want to mention because I don't want to butcher it, but it's like Tamimi or something like that. She designed the costumes for Harry Potter. She is already there at the studio She's giving these actors their clothes. And these castings, they didn't just like become official. That's just when they announced them. These castings that I'm going over right now, and the ones who I went over before, who you can see right up here, the first one being Patty Considine, they were likely cast early in 2020, maybe even in 2019, when HBO first gave showrunners to greenlight for an entire first season of House of the Dragon. That's likely when they started having all of these casting calls and narrowed them down to like maybe 5 or 6 people. So these actors have known about these castings for a while and have had to keep quiet. But Eve Best is going to be playing Princess Rhaenys Velaryon. She's a dragon rider and wife to Lord Corlys Velaryon, the queen who never was passed over as heir to the Iron Throne at the Great Council because the realm favored her cousin Viserys simply for being male. And Viserys is actually Rhaenyra's father. And I've done character breakdowns of all of these people, so if you want to have like details in specific, well then go watch all the videos that I've been releasing for the past year. I'm obviously going to do update videos, but I got my baby downstairs and I'm taking up the time that I should be. I will put out new updated character bio videos soon, but if you want something in the meantime, go and check out some of the links that I've listed down below in the description. But and next we have Rhys Ifan, who I recognized from Notting Hill. I know, believe it or not, but he plays like he's gonna be playing in this new series Otto Hightower, who's the Hand of the King, rival to Prince Daemon. Otto Hightower is Alicent Hightower's father, and I immediately went to look and see, okay, Rhys Ifan. Then let me Google Olivia Cook. Let me see what they look like. They kind of look like. It's hard to see what these actors will look like on screen from their headshots, because the headshots are taken like with dramatic exposure and contrast, and they highlight the actors' features, and we don't really know what they're going to look like in set on Game of Thrones with the color patterns and gradients that they use. So they look similar. But we'll just sort of see how that goes. For those who aren't aware, Otto Hightower is the Hand of the King who loyally and faithfully serves both his king and his realm as the Hand sees it. The greatest threat to the realm is the king's brother Daemon and his position as heir to the throne, if you're looking at it from Sir Otto Hightower's point of view. Now, I've mentioned several times, and I know I just said I wasn't going to really break these characters down, but the biggest thing you understand about the dynamic between Sir Otto and Daemon is that they never really liked each other. The show is going to take liberties, if you will, with what causes the feud initially, but according to the history books, it's not exactly like made this one event is what caused it. But there's rumors that Prince Daemon slept with Alicent Hightower, and that could be the main thing that pissed Otto off and made him decide that he didn't like Daemon. Daemon is also known to be someone who grows bored quickly. He tries to maneuver himself into a position of power. He ultimately thought that he should have been the one to sit the Iron Throne and not his brother Viserys. That doesn't necessarily mean that he hates his brother Viserys, but that means that his brother Viserys realizes that Daemon probably should have been the king. If you read A Rogue Prince, you realize that Daemon is everything that Viserys isn't, and Daemon was actually given Dark Sister by the old king Jaehaerys himself, and because of this, a lot of people think that Daemon was really who the old king wanted to succeed him, but Viserys was just first age-wise, so that's why he sort of got the crown. And another thing is that Viserys isn't like the most strong-willed individual, so he's easily influenced by Otto Hightower. So it's interesting to see the king being played against his brother when his brother does certain things that sort of makes the king fall into what Otto is suggesting because Daemon's being such a fucking douche. That's going to be like probably the most interesting dynamic that I'm looking for, as well as the dynamic between Alicent and her father and Rhaenyra and Viserys before he dies. Oh, spoiler alert, Viserys' death is probably going to be like the Ned Stark of the first season. Or maybe they're going to kill one of the other characters early, like Lord Corlys Velaryon or something like that, just to throw a wrench into it. Game of Thrones was notorious for doing that, and book readers were kept on their toes at certain points. They didn't necessarily agree with the writing changes. We didn't necessarily agree with completely leaving out certain characters, but this new series is being helmed by someone who hasn't put 10 years of their life into something and sort of just grew tired and were ready to move on with other projects. I'm, of course, referring to Ryan Condal. He's like the ultimate fanboy, and I don't really think HBO couldn't have got anyone better to run this new series aside from George himself. And George is, got a lot of shit on his plate. So I'm curious to see the route they go with some of the story direction changes, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna run them past George ultimately. I think that would probably be the best thing, just because I'm not saying he would have like the ultimate say-so of the storyline, but if you're getting his influence as much as possible, well, he's the fucking penman of this story, so it just makes sense to have as much influence from George as possible, and I think Condal is the best person to do that. But this is like one hot take, so continuing on here. Lastly, we have Sonoya Mizuno, who's going to be playing Mysaria, and that is basically Daemon's ear to the streets. She's sort of like a Varus in this new series. Varus was the master of whispers, and Mysaria is the mistress of whispers. She's what allows Daemon to know what's going on in King's Landing, in the streets, in the back alleys, in the plots against the throne. She's Daemon's confidant when it comes to that. But their description is saying she came to Westeros with nothing, sold more times than she can recall, and could have wilted. But instead she rose to become the most trusted and most unlikely ally of Prince Daemon Targaryen, heir to the Iron Throne. So just the beginning of that backdrop sounds like Varys. You know, Varys was a slave boy who had his genitals mutilated, and he sort of maneuvered himself to have like all of these eyes and ears all over Westeros, and he's now in like one of the best positions of power. So Mysaria is going to be sort of like a female version of Varys. I would love to sit here and talk to you guys for like 20 minutes about this fucking show. I'm super excited about it. But like I said, go follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. You'll get frequent updates. Awesome. I'm going to try to continue to do at least 2 videos a week. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Super special shout out to every single person watching this video, and a super special thank you to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com. I want to thank you all again so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video. The like goal is going to be 420. This fucking guy over here. Also, make sure to subscribe and have your notifications turned on, so that way you'll get an alert every single time I drop a video throughout the wait for House of the Dragon, or anything related to A Song of Ice and Fire, or as it's known on this channel, The Long Night.